Welcome back. We're jumping right into Module 3 of our unit on auditing vendors and the production department. We've already walked through vendors, warehousing, and weighing. So now we're diving straight into the heart of manufacturing, granulation and tableting. This is where powder becomes a pill.
So let's just think about this for a second. How on earth do you guarantee quality when a machine is churning out 1 million tablets every single hour? To get our heads around that, we need to put on our auditor hats and really pinpoint the critical checkpoints where things can go wrong. Because, let's be honest, in a process moving this fast, the smallest error can have absolutely massive consequences for patient safety.
Okay, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start where the product starts, in granulation. Then we'll move into the high-speed world of tableting. After that, we'll check out the finishing touches like coating and capsules, and we'll wrap it all up with the final verdict on yield and contamination control. Let's dive in.
All right, first stop on our audit tour, the granulation department. Now, this area is often a bit dusty, kind of messy, and that right there immediately tells you what our two primary concerns are going to be: process control and preventing cross-contamination. So the whole thing kicks off with a process called wet granulation. First, a binder solution gets added to the powder inside a rapid mixer granulator. We just call it an RMG, and this creates a kind of wet mass. From there, it goes into a fluid bed dryer, or FBD, to be carefully dried to the absolute perfect moisture content.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This slide shows the exact parameters an auditor needs to hunt for in the batch manufacturing record. For instance, checking the RMG's amperage. That's not just about ticking a box. If that number is too high, you get this doughy mass that simply won't dissolve properly in the patient. Same goes for drying. You need to see proof that the process stopped when it hit the target loss on drying, or LOD, not just because a timer dinged.
Okay, so after the granules are nice and dry, they're milled and sized using a sieve. And this introduces another super simple but absolutely non-negotiable check: sieve integrity. It's just a physical inspection of the mesh screen to make sure it's not damaged.
And here's the bottom line. A single broken wire from a sieve is a potential metal contamination event. That is a huge deal, and it requires immediate, serious action. So as an auditor, you don't just ask about it, you have to ask to see the sieve inspection log to prove those checks happen before and after every single use.
All right, let's move on to the compression room. The vibe in here is completely different. It's less dusty, way more mechanical, and the name of the game is precision at an almost unbelievable speed. And this number, this just says it all, doesn't it? When a machine is cranking out 1 million tablets an hour, a tiny, tiny deviation in weight or hardness that goes unnoticed for just a few minutes, well, you've suddenly created a mountain of defective products. The stakes are incredibly high. So before even one tablet gets made, you have to verify the machine's setup. This means you are physically looking for leftover tablets from the last run, especially in sneaky spots like the dead plate. You're also going to review the punch inspection log. Why? Because a tiny bit of damage on a punch tip can cause capping, where the top of the tablet literally pops off. And of course, you're making sure the tooling is perfectly clean to prevent those nasty little black spots from machine oil. Okay, now for a classic data integrity trap you can spot right on the production floor. An operator is doing their routine checks, including a hardness test. This test actually crushes the tablet to get the reading. So what's supposed to happen to that tested tablet now?
The answer is simple. It has to be discarded. Throwing a tested, broken tablet back into the batch is a major GMP, or good manufacturing practice violation. So as the auditor, your job is twofold. First, you watch the operator's technique. And second, you take their handwritten log and compare it side by side with the instrument's printout. Those numbers have to match, exactly. It proves that what they wrote down is what was actually measured.
Every single tablet press has to have a working metal detector on its way out. But don't just take their word for it. Ask to witness the challenge test. You need to see the operator pass all 3 types of test wands through that detector. And you need to see the machine give an alarm and physically kick that test piece out with its diverter flap. No exceptions.
Next up, we're going to see how these tablets and granules get their finishing touches. We're now heading into the coating and capsule filling areas, where the final product really takes shape.
You know, a great place to audit the coating process is actually the reject bin. It's like being a detective. See a bunch of tablets with uneven, splotchy color, we call that mottling? That's a good sign a spray gun is clogged. See a lot of twins, where 2 tablets are stuck together? That probably means the spray rate was too fast. These visual defects are clues that point to bigger process control problems.
Now, gelatin capsules are a totally different animal. Unlike tablets, they are extremely sensitive to the environment. If the humidity gets too low, they turn brittle and can literally shatter during filling. If it gets too high, they become soft and sticky. That makes checking the 24/7 thermohygrometer logs an absolutely critical audit point.
Our audit tour is coming to a close, and we're ending with two of the most important principles in manufacturing: reconciliation and containment. This is where we figure out if the process is truly under control.
So you're reviewing the final batch record, and you see a yield of 99%. On the surface, that looks fantastic, right? It's probably well within the acceptable limit. But a good auditor's job is not done yet. Not until they ask the most important question. And there has to be a good, well-documented answer to that question. You need to see the reconciliation record that accounts for every single gram. How much was lost to the dust collector? How much was taken for samples? How many tablets were rejected? An unexplained loss is a major red flag.
And speaking of red flags, this is one of the most telling signs you can find just by walking through the facility. Just look up. If you see a fine layer of white powder on top of the tablet press or on the pipes overhead, it means the dust containment system is failing. Period. That is a huge risk for cross-contamination and a serious health hazard for the operators.
Ultimately, every single check we've talked about today, from the amperage to the sieve integrity to that final yield calculation, it all serves this one fundamental mission. Your role as an auditor is to verify that this whole process is robust enough to consistently make a medicine that is safe and effective.
So, as we wrap up, think about what we've covered. What's the one red flag that's really going to stick with you? Was it the data integrity trap with the crushed tablet? The mystery of the unexplained loss in yield? Or that telltale white powder sign? Remembering these critical details and really understanding what they mean, that's what separates a good auditor from a truly great one.